Good evening, John Augustin here. I hope I find you well. After a dull kind of a day, I was out earlier. I did the station at the cross this morning, kind of thing, and it was chilly enough. I nearly had to keep my hands in my pocket. It was a chill breeze. It was nearly like a little penance, you know. And sometimes you would do things like that. And then I took a walk around the garden doing the Chaplet of Mercy. And then there's you know, a labyrinth, which is a feature of Catholic churches in different parts of the world. And you walk, you can, whatever problems or difficulties or this, that, or the other that you're encountering in your own life. Now, in my case, I'm just on my own, so there would be the sort of things that can occur and that can affect you. So you sort of, as you're walking in, you're getting rid of those, and then when you go into the centre, it's not like a maze; it's a Catholic thing, and you go in and into the centre. You pray that those that bothering you a bit, that's your relief from them, and then you say, "Now, Father, Hail Mary, Holy Father," and that type of thing. Maybe an act of contrition and blessing yourself, of course, and that, and then we listen or kind of listen, and you feel that whatever it was, it's gone, and then you go out with relief. That's the way Labriant has worked. That you go in, you ask God to relieve you of whatever it is that's bothering you. And then when you're inside, then now Father, Hail Mary, glory be to Father, which is a great thing. But I'm just to say this is Bishop Joseph E. Strickland, Light. And it's Light and Leaving, but I think a better title is Light on its own, or Light and the Light of Christ, or the Catholic faith, which is light. Uh, it lightens your soul, your heart, your mind, and he's a good bishop, and is trying to find the right path in life and the celebration, the reverence, and he uses words like ad orientatum and then te deum and that and talks about reverence being the main principle and the altar rails, people approaching the altar rails to receive Holy Communion. And usually the priest or the bishop or whoever it is would have an altar boy or girl or whatever it is, because now girls can be altar walking behind the altar with their soutane suppers and their cloaks or whatever they're wearing, and with a pattern under the chin to protect the sacred host. There's a body, blood, soul, and divinity of our divine Saviour in that form. That's the great gift that he gave us at the Last Supper when he gave the bread to the apostles. Take this is my body, and then the wine. So the priest does that ceremony and the altar, but we receive the Eucharist in the form that we receive it on the tongue. And that's the beauty of it. That's the way it was in my time. And was you didn't expect that it was ever going to change. Churches was packed, confessions was packed. Now the bishop would have not had that experience in his life, so he's talking about it in a different way. We were understood, and even in secondary school and even up to my church, we understood that Latin was the universal language of the Catholic faith. And when I was in secondary school, along with doing English and Irish, that's Gaelic, also did Latin and French. And now Latin would not be taught now in many schools as much as it was in my time. And because it was the basis of a lot of languages. And it was a great subject, and I did pretty good in it, and in French as well. these were, and I was good at it, just when I got honours in Latin. And it wasn't that I was particularly at that stage religious in that sense, or but that was the foundation. And funny enough, when you're getting the foundation, you're not aware sometimes when you're going through something that you're getting it. But as you grow through life, you have that foundation, and it's a great gift. So it was quite exciting. So you didn't use words like extraordinary and ordinary and all this. Now, the last thing that should have ever been implemented was the priest with his back to the tabernacle, which of course should be in the centre of the altar, nowhere else. And those that have it other places want to wake up from their slumber, whatever is wrong with them, and put it back where it should be in the centre. Yeah, too many churches throughout the world haven't got it in the centre. And a church is always better to be in the shape of the cross, the centre, and then the two sides, like the shape of the cross. That was the traditional way, but it changed, and some of them are round, and you don't know where you are. There's no focus. And then, of course, you have the Station of the Cross. So the bishop talks about that and the reverence and that, but he's not sure, but he is sure about the reverence and the business of facing the tabernacle. But some priests, even in his diocese, were talking about something else that facing the people. But you face the people at times when you're saying the gospel or the epistles and all the rest of it in English, haven't said it in the Latin right as it was in my time. The priest did it in English, but you had the missal, so you knew what it was, and he didn't have to do it. But when he gave the sermon, that's what you called it. You didn't call it homilies or other old useless words like that. That doesn't kind of mean much in my book. So when you're read with that, that's the way you expect it to be. And Vatican II didn't change that either. But certain bishops and those people that should have known better did what they did, changed everything, took out in this country, they took out the altar rails, the best of altar rails paid by the people. So Bishop Strickland doesn't talk about that kind of thing, but I'm adding it in. And so those people that are younger and that wouldn't have experienced that, it's a great experience if they can just focus on it, because it calms the mind. You're focused on the celebration of Holy Mass, and then don't forget that we had Rosary and Benediction and the Tantum Ergo, the Adoremus, and that in Latin, and then the priest, the Rosary and Benediction, and then he was with the monstrance. He'd be doing facing the people and the three ways, and the bell would be ringing. Now it usually lasted about half an hour, and it was usually on once a week. So these are the things, and Bishop Strickland doesn't say anything about men's and women's sodalities. These were featured in this country, in Ireland, and probably in other countries. I don't know that much about, but maybe not in the United States. But in this country, we had it, and it was a feature that strengthened the family. It should be brought back because the family is under attack by governments in this country and in other countries. So you have to have some counter to that and know what's right. And that's where the Latin Mass said in Latin is the best way. And all churches generally face the east towards the sun, the rising sun, which is kind of the way that should be designed. But in the United States, the fact that obviously, before Vatican II, the Mass would have been said in Latin, but a lot of the younger ones, bishops and the rest of it, would maybe not have been brought up in that area, so they don't know nothing about it, except their parents would have celebrated it that way. And it's a pity that they are so clueless in some ways, and that they don't go back and do it the way it was when churches was packed. It's as simple as that. And then the Vatican seems to have the present leadership appears to have some problem with the celebration of Mass in Latin, which is very peculiar, considering that was the universal language. And that's one to emphasise. And Bishop Strickland, if I have the pleasure of meeting him, because the Catholic Voice magazine that holds conferences, we had Bishop Snyder here, and I heard him, and he was marvellous. And Bishop Strickland has been invited, but so far he hasn't accepted. But I hope he does. I must look him up, see if I can see him on the website or whatever it is, and contact him, and hope that he'll come, because me learning a good lot, talking to the sort of people that have experience of the Latin Rite Mass, like myself and older folk, that that's the way it was, and churches packed. So what they did was the dead opposite of whatever they intended. Now churches, it's only maybe 10-15% going to Mass every Sunday. Other ones go whenever they feel like it. But that's not the way to practice your Catholic faith. There's an obligation to go every week, and otherwise you don't. It's a mortal sin. These things don't be preached enough. Maybe Bishop Strickland says something about it later on, but so far he hasn't mentioned that. And we know that there's ones that are Catholics that have lapsed for one reason or other. Perhaps they married a person from some other faith, and then that could interfere with the practice of their faith. So the main thing for a Catholic that's practicing a Catholic faith is to marry a person that has the same way of practicing the Catholic faith, going to Mass every Sunday and maybe saying the Holy Rosary every evening and that type of thing. So I'm just mentioning that about say Bishop Strickland has come around to that, but he's come around like a new person in that sense, and is not trying to lay down to the ones that do it with facing they can have it facing the congregation, they can have reverence, but really they shouldn't be facing they shouldn't have their back turned to the tabernacle. That doesn't seem right in any, no matter what way, if you look at it properly. Now, don't turn your back on the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus in the tabernacle. This is what we believe, and you've got to have some belief and purpose, and that's the purpose. Otherwise, you're neglecting your the faith. So boy now, and I'll be doing hymns after this, and then let's talk. Boy now.